Hey everybody, it's Christina from CIPR. So we're getting a lot of questions about these campaign kits, which is absolutely awesome. So I thought I'd take a couple minutes and walk you through, kind of an abbreviated version of our building a community of champions, but focusing on really what that kit could look like. So as a reminder, we're offering these really great, what I like to call campaigns in a box. In this case, they're in a Dropbox, which is absolutely convenient for you. But really, these campaigns in a box or campaign kits are something that we're offering to destination marketing organizations and community destination marketing organizations to help jumpstart their value of tourism campaigns. So, what we run into a lot of times when we start having these conversations is the need to really jumpstart local tourism and local advocacy. And I think especially now in the times that we're living, when there's a bit of uncertainty around borders opening up, there's a bit of uncertainty around when international travelers are actually going to feel comfortable coming back to our destinations. I think, we're set up good for that in terms of the long term, but in the short term, we need to really start thinking about how local advocacy can lead to really the support and hopefully the kickstarting of a rich tourism economy and setting the stage for, what can come in the future. So, value of tourism. I wish that this was more interactive because I would ask you guys, how have you been showcasing the value of tourism in your community? So I want you to think about that right now. I think for a lot of you and a lot of the conversations I end up having, it's not necessarily something you've thought about before. So you probably put out an annual report, you probably have meetings with your board or your stakeholders, you talk about what's been done in the community thus far, but you probably haven't really focused on that value of tourism piece, that connection between, hey, even someone like me, the marketing professional that obviously does well if the tourism industry is doing well, that cafe owner that, not only thrives from locals, but thrives because tourists are in the community, even down to the individuals and those businesses that wash your linens if you're a hotelier. Or my favorite example, the peach farmer. So that person who is supplying the peaches for restaurants or is selling them in farmers markets or is creating some great artisan materials that are being sold in other local shops. They obviously benefit from tourism. So if you have never kind of presented that case to your community, really now has never been a better time. Peter, who's my partner in life and in business, has been calling it the opportunity to double down on your hometown. So not only are you trying to explain value in the tourism industry to your locals, but you're also trying to encourage them to experience your hometown as a local would, in place of in the typical regional or provincial or international tourists. You need your locals to step up and be spending time in your community like they haven't before. I think about our family and where we're planning to go this summer. We love a good Mexican all-inclusive vacation, but we know that's not in the cards for us right now. And frankly, I don't know when it will be. I know what is in the cards though: trips regionally to the Rocky Mountains. Once kind of there's more restrictions lifted, definitely trips to places in British Columbia that we love to visit, trips further north in Alberta. So, that's what our life looks like. And we're, I think, your typical family right now, typical Canadian family. And so you need to start thinking about that as well. So, like I said, your typical focus is really that external marketing, right? You're marketing to those that are external to your community. Value of tourism is about marketing to your locals. It's a bit of a shift, right? I bet you've never had to invest in radio or local ad space from your folks that are directly in town. I bet that you've never potentially given that advice to some of your stakeholders or destinations or hoteliers. How do you market locally? It's a real shift. And I think for your stakeholders to have buy-in in what you're doing, it's about showing them really great resources and templates they can use, which is what's in this kit. But also to be able to be successful in that, it's really demonstrating to those locals that they need to do this. And not only that they need to do this, but they're going to have fun doing it. I know, and I can't spoil the surprise, but I'm working on a surprise for Peter's birthday. And again, his birthday's July 1st, by the way. Wish him a happy birthday. Again, it's not something we would typically think about that's experience-based, but something close to home, and something I wouldn't have considered, I don't think, as a gift for Peter if we weren't in the current state we're in. This particular tourism operator, okay, so there's a hint to the gift, has done an incredible job at digitally marketing to me. They've even provided a great discount for me, so someone who's more local, to experience it. So again, something I would never do, something I don't even think would have been on my radar unless they had done this great digital marketing effort. I can guarantee to you that they haven't focused on me before. So that's exciting and it's interesting. But again, you need that individual to buy into why local tourism is important before you're potentially going to see them actually jump on that conversion at the end of the train. So as a DMO, as a CDMO, really part of your job is to lay the foundation for showing value so that your operators, hoteliers, stakeholders can start to see the end result of some of those conversions and sales. So really this kit aims to provide you everything that you need to start to shift your marketing efforts from that external marketplace that we're used to, especially during the summer months, and drive them kind of into that internal tourism support and advocacy. So what we've done with this kit, and we've worked with a few different destinations now, myself and Brad from our team, and we've thought about how this works. So in some situations, I think that some of you might feel really confident in what you have already set the stage for. So it makes sense to kind of start building everything at once. And for others of you, this might be the first time that you are doing this. It might be the first time you've thought about value of tourism. So we've split this up into kind of 3 steps. I wish it was just 2. So 3 steps to help you kind of accelerate yourself through value of tourism. What's really interesting too is you can get through this in as little as 3 weeks. So your step 1 could be week 1, your step 3, week 3, or you could extend this over multiple months. You can spend, a good month or 2 working on your research in your step 1, and same with your step 2 and 3. So what's really nice about these kits is there's no timeline. They become yours, and it's something we can help you with as a team move through in a way that makes sense to you. So what is it? What's the dirt? So it's 1 kit, so 1 Dropbox, fully accessible to you. Like I said, up to 6 months of campaigning. You can deploy it really fast in 3 weeks, or you can deploy it over, I would suggest, a 6-month period if you're going to extend it that long. I think there's a nice mushy middle somewhere there, and our team would definitely help you find that. In the kit, over 25 different templates. So what's nice is that we're going to spend that time up front actually talking to you about what your needs are. Every community is different. You know this. And every community is different in the way in which they interact with you as a DMO. Maybe this is the first time ever that they're hearing from you. Then we have to consider that. And the templates would reflect that. Maybe you've tried value of tourism before, so we need to think about that and kind of measure against what's been done. But we've built tons of templates so that we can then further personalize them for you. And what's the benefit? Well, potentially hundreds of new advocates in your community. If you've sat through our building a community of champions presentation before with Peter and myself, you'll know that we're political hacks, or at least we used to be, and list building is the name of the game. So really the end goal of your Value of Tourism campaign should be creating a list of champions. So as you deploy, we're always going to be constantly reminding you about the fact that, hey, how are you collecting these names? How are you building a list? How are you ensuring that you have your advocates in place should you need them? I think about the importance of this from our current state of the world, and I really don't think it has ever been more important. We've talked about in the past, like the importance of having that list because, you know, there might be an ask of government, and you'll want that community of champions to be the ones that write in and say it's important. There might be something happening in the community and you need some advocates to stand up and say, hey, tourism is important. A lot of you have told me about the fact that your local municipalities are hurting, obviously. I think this pandemic has hit a lot of people and a lot of municipalities in negative ways. And you may be facing a municipality that's talking about cutting funding to tourism, that, you know, maybe cutting it all together, maybe amalgamating it into something else. So really for you, Value of Tourism is a campaign that you need to quickly deploy and get out there, because your municipality, your elected officials, your bureaucrats need to understand the fact that your community values tourism, and that it's not just tourism in the sense of people coming from out of town to come and visit you, but tourism in the sense of all of those amazing businesses in your community and people in your community that benefit from it. So again, whether you are kind of facing this or not, I think that you need to deploy, and you need to deploy quickly. Think about and measure. Here's your kind of hint, I guess. Start to understand when your municipalities are starting to talk about budgeting. Be a part of those conversations and start to deploy that Value of Tourism campaign so that you have in your back pocket those numbers that can support what you're advocating for. So your kit, finally, right? The first piece of your kit and that first phase, we're really calling research and conversation. So again, this part of the kit is really for you folks that have never kind of toyed with a Value of Tourism campaign before. In this piece, we're going to go through everything from your polling basics, identifying how to identify tourism champions. We're going to give you a press release template in terms of just not, I don't want to say warning, but warning your community that you're coming and that you're collecting information, whether that be through an official telephone poll, which we can also help you out with, or whether it's something more informal and you're going to be doing some surveying, maybe in some public spots, or you're going to be sending something out via email. So we can help with those things. We're going to give you conversation starters. We're going to give you a template for how to create your list. And of course, we're going to work with you every step of the way. If you say to me, Christina, I need to understand how to research the economic numbers, I'm going to help you with that. If you say to us, hey, I need to understand and build a presentation at this step that helps me kind of explain, I feel like the notifications are already starting, which is nice. Questions rolling in potentially. You're going to want to personalize. So if you come to me with any of those questions, we'll build them in. Phase one is all about setting that Value of Tourism campaign up for success. So you want all those numbers so that in future templates, so in phase two, you'll have everything you need. It just becomes a plug and a play. So, you know, there's sometimes a feeling to rush through this step one, and Brad, especially from my team, will always tell you to slow down. So phase two, this is really about education. Before you can convince someone that there's value in something, you need to educate them. So I like to even think about this as giving my kids money. You know, you give them coins and that tactile, oh wow, these coins are worth a lot of money compared to that paper money. At first they think the coins are worth more, and you've dumped, you know, 25 dimes on them and you showed them a $100 bill. Well, they might think that 25 dimes is worth way more than it actually is. But when you start to educate them about, okay, this is a $100 bill, these 25 dimes is only $2.50, right? Someone do the math. Then they understand. So your education, your phase 2 is so important. I think in some communities, you'll be able to go through this quickly, depending on the lists you've built, depending on the relationships you already have. In some communities, you may want to stretch this out. So within the kit, in this particular community, you're going to have some important things. Some that are specifically for your government and elected officials, and some that are specifically for your residents. So your government officials are going to have things like a letter, a template that will help you with, a PowerPoint. So when you go to that first town hall meeting, or when you approach them with a coffee, a socially distanced coffee, you have something to walk through with them. These things are all going to be built on those numbers that you came across in phase 1. We're going to give you a checklist for the overarching campaign. This is going to help guide those government activities, but also those residential activities as well. And then when it comes to residents, you want to start to empower them. So we're going to give you some postcards. These postcards are going to help your residents tell the story to elected officials that they're a part of tourism. So imagine my MLA gets a postcard from me, who he goes, okay, she owns a marketing firm, and it says that I'm a part of the tourism industry. He's going to maybe scratch his head at that and start to wonder. But then he gets one from you, he gets one from my neighbor, he gets one from someone else, and he starts to see this really powerful trickle effect of all of these people that are involved in tourism. There's also going to be things like activity sheets. We built a really neat one for Northern BC Tourism recently, where it was almost like looked like a gingerbread man, but it allowed parents to print these out and have their kids fill them in and color them with, who's your tourism champion? Is it a chef? Is it a farmer? Who is it? And they could create a little bit of an online contest around this. We're going to give you things like a media buy checklist. Are there things you need to consider? Are there things or programs you can start to put in media? Start to think about the Tourism Kamloops program that we built. So things like, is there an opportunity to podcast in your community? Is there an opportunity to get in the local papers? How does that work? And how can you tell the story? Maybe it's a segment on a popular television channel at a popular time. The list goes on. So we'll help you develop that. This kit also has how to create stories of tourism champions. So, you know these people that have really great stories to tell, but maybe you don't know how to put all the pieces together, or you need that checklist. So that's in this piece too. Key message templates, another press release template, and really, again, we're going to work with you to figure out what works best in your community. I know from some past work that we did with Fernie in British Columbia that there's a ton of people on Facebook there. So here I have in your list Instagram story templates, which is something that could be included. But maybe in the case of a place where we know the Facebook engagement is really high, we build something else with you. So again, we're going to work with you to really personalize these templates, make them completely usable for your team, throw logos on it where we need to, help you fill them in, and go from there. Now, okay, little secret, if you're looking for some cost savings, and you do have the resources in-house and support, you could leave a lot of these templates blank. You could use that in-house support to brand them and save some money on our end. Or you can work with us and have everything you possibly need to deploy immediately. Okay, so you've had a successful phase 2. Moving into phase 3. So this is your local advocacy piece. This is the value of tourism. You've explained to everyone in your previous phase, and in your previous phase to that, you've gathered a lot of great data. The templates here are going to be all about advocacy and list building. So an opinion editorial outline, decals for the community to put in windows, to put on cars, coloring sheets and templates there to help really make it easy to understand how connected the tourism industry is to everything. Presentation templates, and really guides so that you can present to your communities in a way that's succinct. and potentially capture some different community groups that you hadn't thought about before. We're going to give you a media strategy template. You're going to have a whole advocacy campaign checklist. Again, there's going to be a letter writing template so your residents can continue to demonstrate to your local officials how important it is. More of those great social media templates. We know when something goes viral on social media in your community itself is when it can start to get some real attention from leaders. Newsletter templates, lots of different things here. Again, we're going to work with you to personalize, but we're also going to work with you to understand exactly what would be best in this local advocacy campaign piece. So you see a bunch of pieces on the screen here. Maybe some fit, maybe some don't, maybe some are speaking and jumping off the page to you right now. And maybe you've been thinking about something else. So we would have an initial meeting with you to kind of suss all of that out. And as the campaign continued in your community, we could make some changes and switch things over to make it as useful for you as possible. So like I said, do it yourself, fully customizable templates. We can set that up for you, or you can work with us throughout the campaign so that you have something fully customized at the end. My biggest hope here is that we're giving you a kit that you can easily execute. And I know a lot of you don't have that graphic design support in-house, or more importantly, just that eye for value of tourism in-house. So we're here to help with that. We can be with you every step of the way, or you can simply kind of call on us as you wish. You can start to implement some of these things and just flag us when you have a question. I've included a little link in the presentation here, but just shoot me a note anytime. Christina with a CH, as you can see on the screen there, at CIPR communications with an S.com. And let's chat about it. Let's see, because maybe you're thinking too, like, is this a fit for me? Is it not? Let's have the conversation and see if it is. A couple of examples, you guys have heard this one before. I love this example. Tourism Kamloops has done so much. Their value of tourism campaign is called Love in the Loops. So really fun title, but really the campaign led to real excitement around tourism. Hundreds of locals have responded. You can see all the stats here. I love this little one of Norm, the bus driver. So they ended up doing bus tours with locals. And 62 hours of Norm driving that bus. That's 62 hours of locals being engaged and seeing for themselves how much this community had to offer. They had over 25 government meetings, so many different things, 24 different media interviews. This community is truly starting to understand why they should love their community and advocate for it. Another great example, I brought these guys up before. I wanted to show you some of the pieces of the kit that we've actually put together. So Northern BC Tourism, a regional DMO, has put on kind of this kit building exercise to share with all of their DMOs and CDMOs in the area. So theirs are a little bit less branded because they want their local communities to brand them, but this is a great example of how deep you can go or how not. So you'll see at the bottom some of these templates that Brad from our team pulled together. So a letter, this one is one of the news release templates, some really easy to follow, okay, insert your name here, or we can work with you to get these even further across the line. Up here you'll see some great social media templates. Also here you'll see just a sample of how we present questions you can ask. So something nice and branded that you could share, but also something you could use internally. Here's an example of a templated presentation. Hey, here's that gingerbread man that I was talking about before. So they can dress this up and draw their tourism champion. And here's an example of one of those great postcards. So again, just a small sprinkling of what was created in their kit, but something that's been executed since the beginning of this month and really well received. So our campaign kits are starting at that $3,900 mark, and that's, you know, so many different resources. Again, though, I want to talk to you guys and make sure that you're getting the most value out of this. So I don't necessarily want to throw a one size fits all at you. Maybe you need something that's a little bit less custom. Maybe you want to go all in and really start to customize and use this program. This kit, and I feel like this is maybe a secret too, year after year, you can be utilizing this. So if this program works for you this year, your value of tourism should be something that's annual. You always want to be pumping up your locals to be telling your story. This year, your call to action is support local. Next year, maybe your call to action is tell your friends and family to get in the car and get out here. Maybe the year after that, it's, hey, start to leave reviews and tell people abroad about us. Maybe that's even further down the line. I don't know, but you should have a distinct value of tourism call to action every single year. So this kit, hopefully you're not putting in on a shelf after 2020, but you're just rinsing and repeating it every year. So this small investment that you're going to make in 2020 is hopefully one that's going to take you on to many years to come to build a really robust and succinct annual value of tourism campaign. And obviously we'll be there every step of the way if you want us to be, but what I'm excited about is this kit empowers you and it empowers your team to be able to get this done and to get it done annually in a way that's really repeatable. So, hey guys, let's build your team of community advocates together. I'm so excited that so many of you have been interested in this. So I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Remember Christina with a CH at CIPR Communications with an S.com. I'm here anytime to talk to you guys through this. I'm excited and hey, happy tourism.